This is Radar for On the Radar Tape Blog coming to at you with the final off-season week leading into the 2022 season from last year's off-season. This would be technically week 22. Going forward, every week you will have a video of all the usual stuff that happens in baseball, from every box score in every game. So everything, anything else that happens like in terms of trades and roster movements at baseball news, you can check that out on the Radar podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Or if I write something, you can check out ontheradarmedia.com, Radar 4428 a blogger, or On the Radar Entertainment blog for Facebook. So let's get to these moves quickly. Tim McCarver announced he's retiring from broadcasting. The past 2 years he hasn't actually broadcasted because of the pandemic. So happy trails to him. He's a really good broadcaster with Fox, the Phillies, etc. The Cardinals. Happy trails to him. Ryan Messenger signed a minor league deal with the Diamondbacks. Again, organizational depth. Cubs started the year without Wade Miley. They signed a lot of guys, so they would be good. Ken Giles starting the year in the DL hurts them because they don't really have a closer, the Mariners. Luke Jackson, unfortunately, has a UCL injury, so he's going to have surgery. But at least Darren O'Day and all the other guys that Braves signed will be organizational depth. Big move, Angels DFA Justin Upton. That's a big move because they spent a lot of money on him to be their outfielder. And yeah, he had some productive years with them. The dude started when he was 17 years old, so he's been in the league for a long time. I still think as a part-time player, like a platoon outfielder DH, that would help him out. They even had him playing first base in spring training, but they said, nope, we're going to try and see if Joe Adell can finally stay healthy and put it all together. And then we got this Brandon Marsh guy, who I know has a really good defensive outfield prospect. Can he hit? And let's take Taylor Ward, a catcher, and play him as well. And then Rojas, the infielder. So they got plenty of guys that they want to play in the corner spot. I just don't know. They're paying him all that money for no reason, and nobody's going to pick him up off waivers. For the Tigers, their top prospects, Michael Torkelson, made the team. Bobby Witt, a top prospect of the Royals, made the team. And Matt Brash made it for the team as well. So a lot of these teams are taking chances on guys like by saying, okay, cool, we're going to have guys make the team. So the Mariners did that with Matt Brash, and they did that with Julio Rodriguez, who's supposed to be one of the best players in baseball. My issue is Trammell, Lewis, and Kalenic, and Mitch Haniger, and Jesse Winker. Too many outfielders, Seattle. Andrew Stevenson got outright off the Nationals roster. They feel like Lane Thomas is his replacement. Harrison Bader avoided arbitration. Unfortunately for the White Sox, Lance Lynn has knee surgery. He's out for 4 weeks. That's the Sox ace with Rodon leaving, so that will hurt the Sox at the beginning of the season because the Sox still have question marks in the fourth spot, how good Copa can be off all those injured seasons and being a reliever, and if Keuchel or Vince Velasquez has anything left in the tank. The Mariners cut Andrew Sisco from minor league camp, but the Twins picked him back up because the Twins do have Gary Sanchez, but, you know, it's always good to have organizational depth. Trey Mancini avoided arbitration. Jesse Chavez made the Cubs team, which I predicted because he's a swing guy. It's a good move. Yankees traded their pitcher, their pitcher, Albert Abreu, and a minor league player, Robbie Astrom, to quiet Jose Trevino. Because, again, Yankees traded Gary Sanchez. They don't got a catcher. All they got is a bunch of backups, and they still do because Trevino's really a backup. The Yankees did trade Joely Rodriguez straight up for Miguel Castro in the New York trade. As a Mets fan, I know Miguel Castro can't aim his pitches, so Joely Rodriguez would be a lot better. Mitch Haniger avoided arbitration, so did Victor Robles. The White Sox traded their backup catcher, Zach Collins, for Reese McGuire. Zach Collins is supposed to be a great hitter, but he never really became that hitter when the Sox had opportunities at DH for left-handed bat. So they traded him for Reese McGuire, who's supposed to also be a lefty, so it helps the Sox who have a righty lineup, and he's supposed to be a better defensive catcher. The Blue Jays don't need Zach Collins because Alejandro Kirk is their backup. Marlins acquired left-hander Tanner Scott, right-hander Cole Sussler to get minor league pitchers Antonio Velez and Kevin Guerrero, because the Marlins are like, yeah, we're not going anywhere, but let's get some veteran relief pitchers from the Orioles. Marlins did cut the line of the Shield. Jose Rojas has an oblique injury, so that's not good. The Diamondbacks don't have him to start the season. Matt Bush, Charlie Culberson, and Greg Holland makes the roster for the Rangers. I predicted that Greg Holland would make it based on his coaching experience. Culberson, because they don't really have a third baseman, he can play everywhere. And Matt Bush has been with the team for so long, they really liked him. Danny Colombe makes the Twins roster, but Jose Gudo get DFA'd. And Greg Burke got cut by the Blue Jays, but the Yankees picked him back up because they like him. It's organizational depth. They don't have any room at first base DH, but he'll play AAA. The Mets, Chasen Shreve made the roster, so they DFA'd Jordan Amato. I knew Chasen Shreve would make it because they really need a lefty to replace Aaron Loup. He made it over Alex Claudio. Julio Rodriguez, I mentioned, made the roster. Chris Sale's going to be in the 60-day DL, which sucks for the Red Sox because he's their best pitcher. So Tyler Danish, a former White Sox pitcher, will make the bullpen. Richard Rodriguez, the the closer with the Pirates and then with the Braves last year when they traded for him, He got busted for 80-game suspension. So does utility man Danny Santana, utility player Jose Randon, but it really affects Rodriguez because he's still one of the better free agents in the market. It also affected Brewers backup catcher Pedro Severino because the Brewers needed a defensive catcher to back up Navarez, who's an offensive catcher. So that affected them that way. Jack Flaherty starting the year in the DL, so Andre Palat makes the Cardinal. Vince Martin got outrighted by the A's, and the Yankees got David McCabe from the Rays, because the Rays apparently think they have enough pitching they could just flip him to the divisional rival. Ty Black make the Rockies team, because again they need pitching. There's Gashu Kato make the Jays. The Jays got rid of a lot of their veterans in recent weeks by trading Randall Grichuk and some other guys, so this guy makes the team. He's one of their better prospects. I don't know how much playing time he's going to get. Johan Duran and made the Twins roster. The Diego Castillo, the Pirates, who I would confuse him with the reliever, but he made the Pirates. Ethan Roberts made the Cubs team. Tigers have acquired Austin Meadows for Isaac Paredes and a draft pick. As a White Sox fan, I'm like, Meadows is younger, more experience playing right field, and he has been as injured prone as AJ Pollock. But there has to be something wrong that the Rays would trade from their team, because Manuel Margot, Randy Ozarena, Brett Phillips, and Kiermaier, they're all good. But none of them are on the hitting level of Meadows, because that's why he DHs. And it's just like, they have to know something if that was an issue. It helps the Tigers out because it's a now move. It helps them out now. But again, him and Robbie Grossman as your corner outfielders is not the world's greatest outfield. And the Tigers are not making the playoffs. It would help the White Sox. But the fact that the Tigers gave out Paredes a backup and a draft pick, I'm guessing the Tigers' draft pick is better than the White Sox, because originally the Rays wanted Craig Kimbrell from the White Sox, but they didn't want to pick up the whole entire contract. So that was an issue there. And the White Sox did sign Johnny Cueto a minor league deal, but since it was like the last couple of days of spring training, he's going to have to prove he's healthy and pitch in the minor leagues to start the season, because the White Sox, with Lance Lynn out for a month, could really use Johnny Cueto, because I'd rather him as a fifth starter. And Bryson Scott, a Phillies prospect, makes the roster, but again, they got a lot of veterans. Where is he going to play? Turnbull avoided arbitration. Martin Gonzalez made the Yankees. I thought they had a lot of players on the roster, but again, utility players are useful. Dylan Betances on a minor deal with the Dodgers. He was a failure with the Mets because he wasn't healthy. If he's healthy, that helps the Dodgers out with their bullpen, because that's some of the issues why they traded for Kimbrell. Andrew Knapp didn't make the other team out of spring training, so the Pirates go, well, former Phillies backup catcher, you can stay in the state of Pennsylvania and be our backup catcher, because they're going with Roberto Perez. So, as the former Indians catcher is the starting catcher on that team. They did have Carlos Perez in minor league camp, but they're going with Knapp. Anibal Sanchez make the national team. I knew with Joe Ross and Steven Strasburg on the DL that it makes sense. No word on Aaron Sanchez if he's probably going to stay in AAA. Jesus Aguilar avoided arbitration with the Marlins. The Rangers did cut Jake Marisnick and Brandon Workman. I'm surprised about the Workman thing, because the Rangers bullpen is a bunch of nobodies for the most part, and only Greg Holland making it confirms they got one person who's been a closer. Marisnick being cut, I get it. The Rangers have a lot of outfielders. Diamondbacks announced that Luke Weaver, instead of being the third or fourth starter, he's going to the bullpen. That surprised me, because Mad Bum is obviously the ace. Zach Allen and Merrill Carey in the rotation. They just picked up Zach Davies. I don't really know, in general, the depth chart, why they would go him in the bullpen, but that's their decision. Monte Harrison is joining the Angels on a minor league deal again. Organizational depth for the Angels, because the outfield's a little bit question mark. Tigers announced that Hutchinson and Jacob Barnes and Will Vest made the team, but they DFA'd Miguel Dipozo. I felt like a guy like Barnes and Vest, who've been in the majors before, and Drew Hutcherson, would make the team. But Jake Rogers, Turnbull, Cicero, Chafin, and Hill and Funkhauser all go on the DL. Elvin Rodriguez made the Tigers team over Willie Castro, I guess, with the Meadows move, the Baez move. There's not really a lot of room on this team for Willie Castro to get everyday bats. It makes sense. Chase Anderson and Willie Peralta also didn't make the team, but I know they'll pitch for them at some point. Anthony Benboom won the Orioles' backup job, and Chris Owens I knew would make the utility job. So that just means all the other catchers in camp for the Orioles didn't make it, and they went with Benboom. Oliver Perez I knew would make the Diamondbacks bullpen, because he was announced he's going to retire, so that makes sense. The DFA Caleb Barger, always funny name to say. Jake Marisnick, after being cut by the Rangers, going to the Pirates, because again, they have no set outfield besides Brian Reynolds. Prizing Jordan Hicks made the Cardinals rotation. I know Flaherty started the year in the DL, but so outside of Wainwright, Mikolas, Dakota Hudson, and Matz, I was thinking maybe, just maybe, between Whitgren or Vanger Herden, the guys they signed, that they're like, okay, cool, we need Jordan Hicks as the closer, because he used to be the closer a few years ago before he got hurt, before Reyes did, and with Reyes starting the year in the DL, that surprised me, but I'm guessing Cardinals just think they can have a bad bullpen, especially with Andrew Miller retiring and Wade LeBlanc retiring. It's just like, okay, that's an issue. In wake of the Pedro Severino suspension, the Brewers got Victor Caratini from the Padres, who have 4 catchers. So that's a good move for everybody. And the Padres get a minor league catcher, Brett Sullivan, and another minor leaguer, Corey Howell. Not going to help them out because they're trying to win. Brewers also acquired Alex Jackson for minor leaguers Hayden Cantrell and Alexis Ramirez. I don't know why the Marlins would acquire Alex Jackson as a catching prospect. If they were then going to trade Jorge Faro, then get themselves Jacob Stallings and Willen Astudillo as veteran catchers, if you're not even going to give this guy a chance. The Brewers are going to throw him in AAA because they don't need him, so again, he's not going to get opportunity. Whit Merrifield's contract was restructured to help out the Royals cap space. Nats DFA Gabe Klobautis, never heard of him. Ronel Blanco made the Astros team, but not Tyler Ivory. Key Brian Hayes signed a huge, massive 8-year, $70 million extension. He, outside of Reynolds, he is the best player on that team. So lock him up because you're not going anywhere. And if he's under contract for a long time, you can always trade him because the team will go, okay, I guess he's not going to be a free agent. Mets signed John Curtis to a deal, and Jankowski made the team. Blancorn got DFA'd. I knew Jankowski would make it because when I saw them play Canada opening day and Nimmo not playing, and you got Dom Smith and Jeff McNeil in left field and Marte in right, you needed a real center fielder in Jankowski, and he's the perfect 4th outfielder. Yanni Hernandez got traded to the Arizona Diamondbacks for Jefferson Espinal. So the Rangers get a minor league player for a backup they don't need. Arizona did DFA Humberto Mejia for the roster spot. Texas DFA'd Sherton Aspinall and announced that Garrett Richards and Leclerc are starting the year in the DL, which is why I'm surprised by the Workman being cut. Travis Shaw and Hansel Robles made the Red Sox team, but Eduardo Pizarro and Ralph Garza are out. They just acquired Garza off waivers, so that doesn't matter. I knew Shaw would make it because as much as they liked Bobby Delback last year, some platooning would be good as a righty-lefty matchup. And Robles is just another veteran reliever to help out Matt Barnes in the bullpen, and I knew they would bring him back. Astros signed Ryan Presley to a 2-year extension. The White Sox outright Ezebi Zavala after the Reese McGuire acquisition. He's the backup. They added Tanner Banks and Kyle Crick and the Souza dude to the roster. And I'm just like, Crick's a former Pirates pitcher. I don't even know that much about Tanner Banks. And Jose Ruiz and Matt Foster and Bummer are not the world's greatest relievers, but they love him somehow. The DFAing of early 20-year-old Mikel Adolfo between ages 22 and 25, we could have used another backup, but with the AJ Pollock trade and having Adam Engel and then having Leori Garcia who could play the outfield, they're like, yeah, let's get him go. Our luck, if you're a Sox fan, you'd be like, no! We let Basabe leave. He came back. That's fine. Let Luis Gonzalez leave. Both those guys have been healthy. But Adolfo, I thought he was going to have a really good chance of being a good major leaguer, and they just let him go. I don't understand that. Sox don't really know how to manage a 4-man roster. C.J. Abrams, one of the prospects in the Padres system, made the team because, of course, Tatis injured himself multiple times off a motorcycle, and Jose Sorcar made the team. And again, they don't have a left fielder. They don't have enough outfield depth, so let him make the team, and they DFA Kyle Teller. The Kansas City Royals DFA Danny Tillo. Matt Harvey's back with the Orioles. Hunter Harvey was with the Orioles. He's at the Nationals. Mixing up teams. Yankees DFA Jensen Rosario with the moves they made. He only just got there a few weeks ago, so again, doesn't matter. Twins did acquire Paddock and Emilio Pagan for Taylor Rogers and Brent Rooker. As I mentioned about the Padres, they have no left fielder because Profar's on a left field, and they don't really have any outfield depth. So getting Brent Rooker, a corner guy, is good for their bench. Taylor Rogers has been the Twins closer, and the Padres' best reliever is Craig Stamen. It's just... And the other reliever was Emilio Pagan, but in order to get Taylor Rogers, you got to give Emilio Pagan. And Chris Paddock, no matter what happens to the Twins, a rotation of Sonny Gray, Dylan Bundy, Chris Archer, and Chris Paddock is not going to win you the division. Archer hasn't been healthy. Bundy's okay. Sonny Gray's a little on a down thing, and Paddock, after a great rookie year, went down. The Padres are all in. So they're like, we don't care if we give up. We give up Caratini because we got 4 catchers, and they don't care if they give up Paddock because they went and got Sean Manaea after already having Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, and Joe Musgrove last year, and 2 years ago getting this Matt Clevenger. So that's the sort of thing that they think they can have a super rotation. And, yeah, it's Mike Clevenger on that, excuse me. So they think having a super rotation where Joe Musgrove and Clevenger are your 4th and 5th guys. Well, Clevenger's starting the year in the DL, so it looks like Gore or Weathers can start. But again, that's depth for them. So they think that getting Taylor Rogers and Brent Rooker is the price of Paddock and Pagan. That's fine because they got Sean Manaea and they got a pitcher named Aaron Holiday, not confused with a basketball player, because they gave up Adrian Martinez and Ruben Engel. So they gave up 2 young guys along with Paddock to make this rotation and get Taylor Rogers. That's fine. Sean Armstrong made the Marlins with Floro and Jose Devers going to the DL. And because of injuries, De La Cruz, the outfielder, got an option to minor leagues. He's back. I knew Armstrong would make it because he's been a veteran around the block. Rays have claimed Ralph Garza off waivers from the Red Sox. I knew they would use him. And Chris Mazza made the team, which makes sense. McKay and Fairbanks, two of the more important pitchers on this team for the Rays, are starting the year in the DL. Will Harris and Steven Strasburg, as I mentioned, starting the year in the DL. So Victor Arano takes Will Harris' spot in the bullpen, and Mikhail Franco's at third baseman because Keyboom starting the year in the DL, and D. Gordon Strange made the team. I knew he would. They're not going anywhere. He's a useful utility guy. Phillies, unfortunately, will lose Mickey Moniak for 6 weeks, a hand fracture. They already traded Halsey, so it looks like Verling is going to be the everyday center fielder. And Odubel Rivera, if he's starting the year in the DL, I don't know who's going to back up Verling in center field. It's going to have to be Yohan Camargo or one of the super utility guys on the roster. The A's DFA'd Sam Selman and announced that Justin Grimm and Danny Jimenez and Jack Johnson and Jake Lemoe and Billy McKinney made the team. I knew Billy McKinney would make it. They had him before. His issue is he never gets a chance on every team he gets bumps from. And the A's are not going anywhere. So let all of these relief pitchers that you never heard of that are cheap make the team. And Grimm could be traded at the deadline. Brandon Waddell was outrighted by St. Louis. Matt Festa made the Mariners. I knew it. He's been there before. And Julius Guerrero started the year on the DL for the A's. And they announced Jed Lowry and Oler make the team. They got Oler in the trade for Bassett. They might as well start him in Lowry. They love him, so of course he made the team. Blue Jays acquired Bradley Zimmer. So with Raimel Tapia and Bradley Zimmer having center field experience and being contact hitters of what their games are, that can give Springer and Hernandez breaks from playing outfield and playing center field. So those are good moves. Because the Indians just realized, you know what? We got Miles Straw. We got Mercado. We got this young guy we just called up. We don't need Zimmer, so goodbye to him. Reed Detmers made the Angels rotation because they're doing a six-man rotation. Congratulations to him. Kyle Lewis and Ronels Alias have made unfortunately started the year in the DL. As I mentioned with the Mariners, they got so many guys in the outfield. And Sean Guntner unfortunately announced they're going to have Tommy John surgery, so the Marlins is a pitcher. Angels just claimed Kyle Teller, who just got cut by the Padres. Jose Ramirez had a 5-year extension worth $124 million. He's the best player on the team, so that just means they're not trading him. And the Cubs announced they're having a Legends statue rose section after they moved the Billy Williams and the other statues. They may add more, but Ryan Sammer, Billy Williams, Ernie Banks, Alfred Jenkins, those are the guys that you want to have statues of. And I would have one of Three Finger Brown, Alexander, you name it. All the best pitchers, Greg Maddux, Andre Dawson, Sammy Sosa. CC Sabathia has announced he's going to be a special assistant to the commissioner. Congratulations to him. And they're coming out with a Cuban baseball documentary called Last Out, so those are looking for that. And rest in peace to Rodney Richardson. He helped develop the logos for the Brewers recently. And rest in peace to Tommy Davis, a longtime outfielder who played for the Dodgers, where he made all of his All-Star appearances, won the World Series in '63, won 2 batting titles, and led the league in RBI. I remember him as he played for a lot of teams, finishing with 1,000 RBIs, 153 hits, and an almost lifetime 300 batting average, where he played for the Mets, the White Sox, the Pirates, the Astros, the A's, the Cubs, and then the A's and the Cubs again, and then Baltimore, Los Angeles Angels, and the Royals. They just went from all these teams all these years, and then he was known for being on from 10 different teams for a long different time. He finished third in MVP voting 1 year after he led the league in hits and RBIs and batting average. He did break Roy Campanella's record of RBIs in his season and for right-handed hitters and all these other accolades that he had. So, you'll be missed, Tommy Davis. You passed away at age 83, but you had a really good career. Happy retirement to A.J. Ramos, unfortunately, at 35. He had bounced around from team to team after getting all these injuries when the Mets acquired him, and it was gone. And he tried coming back, and it took him a while, and the Dodgers picked him up. Then they released him without appearing in a game, so the Cubs picked him up. Then the Rockies. So he bounced around in 2020. And then 21, he signed with the Angels and played for them towards the end of the season. They re-signed him. Well, unfortunately what happened was he torn a capsule on his right shoulder and ended the season before it started, because he would have been a very impactful reliever for the Angels. But unfortunately, all these injuries to his shoulder, he decided, I'm going to retire at age 35. Drew Butera has retired at age of 38. The former Twins, Dodgers, Angels, Royals, Rockies outfield catcher who won a World Series with the Royals in 2015 was what you wanted as a backup catcher. He also had to play for Team Italy with an Italian heritage, so that was pretty cool. Happy trails to him. Yeah, I just wanted to get back on Ramos. He was a dominant closer with the Marlins, where in his total career, he had 99 saves, 430 strikeouts, and a 3-year ERA. Not bad. Injuries derailed him, and he made the All-Star team once with the Marlins. Jordy Mercer, the former Pirates everyday shortstop turned utility player with the Yankees, Nationals, and Tigers, won 2 silvers and a bronze when he was in the minor leagues, and finished with 66 home runs and 308 RBIs and a 256 lifetime batting average. Happy trails to him. He retired at the age of 35 after finishing out the minor league deal with the Nationals last year and ending the season with them for just a bit. So, playing a little bit for the team as well. So, not the career he wanted, but he was a long-time starter. Happy trails to Wade LeBlanc, retired at the age of 37. He just finished up the last season with the Cardinals. He started his career with the Padres, Marlins, Astros, then went to the Angels, Yankees, Angels again, went overseas, the Mariners, the Pirates, the Mariners, and the Orioles again. He was a really bad starting pitcher, went from minor league deal for team to team, and then he became a left-handed reliever, just a regular reliever, and then when he pitched for like the Mariners and the Pirates, they're like, wow, this guy's a starter, let's give him a multi-year deal. That make him a starter, and it didn't make any sense. He finished with a losing record, a 4.5 ERA, and only 671 strikeouts. So happy trails to Wade LeBlanc, and happy trails to Todd Frazier, the former Reds player from Toms River, New Jersey, who played in Little League, who won a gold medal in 2006 before he made his big league debut, and just won a silver medal with Team USA last year in the Olympics after playing sparingly with the Pirates to start the year. He was a 2-time All-Star with the Reds, had some great slugging numbers with the White Sox, then went to New York with the Yankees and the Mets, then Texas and the Mets, and he finished with 218 home runs, 640 RBIs, and a 241 batting average. I will always remember him as the dude who, when he's on the White Sox, was so nice, gave me an autograph. When he came to town with the Mets, go to either ballpark, I wore my Sox Frazier jersey, and he was like, hey, remember me? Gave me an autograph when I went to a Cubs-Mets game, wearing my Mets gear. Just a really nice person. He will be missed in baseball because I have his autograph multiple times. So, yes. Thanks for listening to another edition, the last edition of the Hot Stove from last season, going into this 2022 season, week 22. Remember, normal videos starting next week of what actually happens in the regular season. Happy trails, Todd Frazier, AJ Ramos, Drew Butera, Jordy Mercer, Wade LeBlanc. Rest in peace, Tommy Davis. For On the Radar Entertainment Blog, see you guys next time.